Okay, see, case studies are the real life situations in the life of an organization or a product. Okay, so through which management students learn to analyze and understand the situation and learn decision making. So case studies are the major tool of learning at premier MBA institutes. So how case studies are built? Let us consider this news. Okay, so some of you might have read. This is December 12 news from Times of India. Violence breaks out at a Wistron Corporation's iPhone manufacturing plant near Bengaluru. Okay. So I have read it, and it is related to our chapter number 17. Okay, the compensation issues with respect to government laws and regulations. How? Let us see that. So the same news, with a couple of interviews with the employees, management and other concerned people, it can be developed into a case study. But here we are going to consider the news itself for the case. So I'll read it out. You need to maintain silence and listen carefully. If in between, if there is any problem with the audio, online students, you have to inform me, through a chat or voice. Violence, this is December 12, 2020. Violence breaks out at a Wistron Corporation's iPhone manufacturing plant near Bengaluru. So for those who are not aware, this is the assembly plant. What is the assembly plant? Manufactured components of Apple's iPhone are brought in here, and all those components are assembled. So it's an assembly plant. And this company, Wistron Corporation, is a Taiwanese company. This company belongs to a country called Taiwan. It's not an Indian company. And Apple is an American company. So you should know that. So something happened at the assembly plant or factory of Wistron Corporation near Bengaluru. The iPhone manufacturing plant run by Taiwan-based tech giant Wistron Corporation at Narasapura, around 60 kilometers from Bengaluru in Karnataka, came under attack on Saturday from its employees over payment of salaries. So definitely, is it related to our subject? 100%, definitely. So a majority of the nearly 2,000 employees who were exiting the facility after completing their night shift went on a rampage, destroying the company's furniture, assembly units, and even attempted to set fire to vehicles. Senior police officers along with additional personnel from Kolar district have rushed to the spot. So in the videos that were shot by few fellow employees during the arson, those leading the mobs were seen breaking glass panes and doors, turning cars topsy-turvy, and attacking the offices of senior executives. Though Wistron is yet to comment on the violence, sources told, this is the first news, later Wistron has commented, that there were some gaps in the pay. So though Wistron is yet to comment on the violence, sources told the Times of India that the employee unrest was triggered by salary remittances or payment of salaries made to them. Sources said the employees were angry that the company was not paying the amount that was promised to them at the time of joining. What amount was determined or promised, that amount was not paid. While an engineering graduate was promised 21,000 rupees per month, his salary had reduced to 16,000 per month. Subsequently, 12,000 rupees in the recent months. So from 21,000 to 16,000, from 16,000 to 21,000. Non-engineering graduates' monthly salary had reduced to 8,000 rupees. The salary amount being credited to our accounts have been reducing, and it was frustrating to see this, an employee alleged. On Friday night, the employees started discussing about their salaries on the floors, and some alleged that they had received as low as 500 rupees in their bank accounts. The anger turned into violence by the time the shift ended, the employee added. Now some information about Wistron. Wistron had received 43 acres at Narasapura industrial area from the state government after it proposed to invest around 2,900 crore FDI, foreign direct investment, and give employment to over 10,000 people. The Narsapura facility is being used to manufacture Apple's smartphone, iPhone SE, Internet of Things, IoT products, and biotech devices. Okay, so this is what has happened. What has happened? Employees of an organization, okay, have went on destroying the company property in anger. First, why it has happened? Yes, because of, yeah, the promised salary was not paid, a lower amount of the paid. Okay, then okay, the first question what I would like to ask is it mandatory for employer to pay the compensation? Yes. Who says
Yes,
so?
sir.
Yeah, who says so? Yeah, through what it says? By acts. Now it is the code on wages 2019, but in our syllabus, as I have mentioned, we have learnt Payment of Wages Act 1936 and Minimum Wages Act 1948 or 42. Okay, whatever, we'll check it out. Okay, yeah. So what has happened? That has, okay, resulted in employee dissatisfaction. Okay, and employees went on rampage. Okay. So now there are some questions I would like to ask. Okay. So which act, okay, you can relate, okay, to this case study? The provisions of which act were violated in this case study? Act and the provisions. Only two acts we have learnt in syllabus. Okay. Code on wages, as I mentioned, it will be added to the new syllabus next year. So, but this is the old syllabus, 1820. No, there are two specific acts. You have to, there is a name, okay, full name you have to spell. Okay, online students, which provisions of the which compensation act were violated here? Okay, online students, any reply? Yes. Okay, there is one more news also. Okay, so there is one more article in Business Today, okay, website businesstoday.in. Okay, there are a couple of more reasons are also mentioned here. Okay, so see here are the investigations top findings why that violence happened. Around 10,500 workers were employed in the Wistron in Karnataka factory. The HR department has not been adequately set up, comprising personnel with sound knowledge of labor laws. See what we concluded in the chapter number 17, implications for managers. Those who are concerned with the payment of wages, okay, employer or manager should have knowledge and understanding of these labor laws related to compensation. So what it says, the HR department has not been adequately set up, comprising personnel with sound knowledge of labor laws. The repercussions of changing the working hours from 8 to 12 hours haven't been assessed. The working hours were increased from 8 to 12 hours. So one of your classmates also, she mentioned, if you can recall, don't take the company name, her father was working in so and so factory and the working hours were increased to 12 hours without any proportionate increase in wages. Okay. So confusion among the workers about their wages inclusive of overtime on account of the change in working hours from 8-hour shift to 12-hour has not been addressed by the HR personnel properly in line with the legal provisions. Then overtime hours and wages thereof in respect of the 12-hour shift have not been clearly explained to the workers. Faulty attendance system which failed to correctly capture the attendance of workers hasn't been addressed and has been continued for the past 2 months. So there was some problem with taking attendance of the employees and that was not resolved. Worker salaries have been disbursed on or before 10th day from the last day of the wage period. Okay, so according to the law, within how many days the wages should be disbursed? Yeah, say it loud. Within 7th day of the last payment period. Okay. So that is the first day of every month. However, it was wrongly stated by the HR personnel as payable on or before the 10th of every month. The practices in place concerning payment of wages and overtime work weren't in line with the provisions of law. There was a wide gap between the practices in the factory and the statutory stipulations, the two acts that we learnt in the classroom under the law about the period of work. Okay, so these were the reasons. So now can you more specifically answer? Okay, so which provisions, okay, from which act related to compensation were violated by the company? First you have to name the act properly, then within the act, yes,
Payment of Wages Act.
the Payment of Wages Act 1936 is violated. So let us consider one at a time. Okay, let us consider one at a time. Online students, I hope still you can see the PowerPoint. Sorry, you can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So these PowerPoint slides, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So pay attention. So let us consider the Payment of Wages Act 1936. What is the objective? To ensure that the wages payable to employees covered by the Act are disbursed by the employer within the prescribed time limit. Here the time limit is also exceeded. Second, and no deductions other than those authorized by law are made by the employers. 21,000 rupees salary reduced to 16,000, 16,000 salary reduced to 12,000. Okay, so those deductions were not specified under this act. So are you able to understand exactly? See, okay, all the students here in the classroom or online, okay, what we have learnt in the classroom exactly, how it is applicable in the corporate world, and when managers are not aware about the law or when they are unable to implement it or comply with the legal aspects, what happens? Okay, see, in many classes it is very difficult for teachers to relate. They always keep saying what you study in class is different, what is there in company is different. Okay, so please try to appreciate the quality of the classes. Okay, now let us see specifically which provisions were violated under the Payment of Wages Act 1936 in this case. Okay, this is okay. Coverage and definition. Yes, definitely this Vistron Corporation falls under the factory or industrial establishments. It's a factory means it's not violation, we are just learning, understanding. Okay. So responsibility is definitely with employers, managers or supervisors. Fixation of wage period not exceeding 1 month. Okay, especially time of wage payment. Okay, so here more than 1000 employees are appointed, so that is not a problem. The problem was the salary day was first of every month, but on what date the salary was paid? 10th of every month. Okay, which is mentioned in the news. Okay, so this time of wage payment is okay violated. Then deductions, basically this is where they have defaulted. 21,000 salary reduced to 16,000, right? So what are those deductions? Okay, they are not related. Okay, there is no information, but definitely it cannot relate to absence from duty or income tax or house accommodations. Anyway, an employer receives a salary after the eligible deductions only. So 21,000 salary cannot become directly 16,000. So it makes the HR personnel, okay, you are HR students, remember, you are going to work in HR department, so please remember this case study always. So HR employees, what is mentioned in the Business Today news article, HR employees were not enough aware about the laws related to compensation. Okay, so those deductions are unauthorized, illegal. So it is an offense now. Okay, so this provision of Payment of Wages Act 1936 is been violated at Vistron Corporation. The one is unauthorized deductions, or the deductions which are not listed in the schedule. Okay, then yeah, so majorly you can talk about this deductions, time of wage payment. Okay, fixation of wage period also you can slightly write about it. Okay. Then you can also elaborate on objectives. So very clearly, objective of Payment of Wages Act 1936 is to ensure that the wages payable to employees covered by the act are disbursed by the employer within the prescribed time limit. Instead of day 1, it was disbursed on day 10. Okay, and no deductions other than those authorized by the law are made by the employer. So here unauthorized deductions were made at the corporation. So you can begin with the objective, okay, and you can touch upon, okay, time of wage payment, deductions, okay, and also fixation of wage period, or you can also consider a responsibility of payment of wages. Okay, like the managers or supervisors or employers, okay, can be held responsible for the salary which were delayed as well as which was reduced, and that reduction in salary was unauthorized. Okay, so it depends on again how you write. So any queries here? First part, which provisions of the Payment of Wages Act 1936 were violated by or violated at Vistron Corporation? Anything you would like to add here? Online students or classroom students? Yes? Okay, see, one thing is possible, even I may try to do it. Right from, this is the first news which I read from Times of India. All the news appearing on this issue can be gathered, okay, in all the maximum media possible, or major media like Business Today is a leader in business magazine, Times of India is leader in English, okay, daily newspaper. So after certain, once where they reach certain stage where issues are resolved, at that stage we have to compile the data and write a story. The story is nothing but a case study, and many people can write case study on the same subject, but their information collection and compiling and analyzing process will be, method may be different. But it's a, you have to wait for a longer period till something is resolved. Okay? Now only investigation. Now like police action will be initiated. Those who are caught in the rampage, they will be arrested. Okay, then there will be prosecution against them, evidences will be produced, right? Then how the court will deal with such employees. Then second investigation will be about the employer for violating the legislation or violating the laws related to compensation. How the employer will be dealt, what actions will be taken. So it will take some time. Okay. Then second question is what provisions of the Minimum Wages Act 1948 are violated in this case? What provisions of the Minimum Wages Act 1948 are violated in this case? Okay, so what is the principal objective of Minimum Wages Act 1948? To prevent exploitation of labor through the payment of unduly low wages. See, the objective itself is defeated here. Okay. Then the Act provides for fixing minimum rates of wages in respect of certain employment specified in the schedule thereto. So rates are already fixed. Okay, but minimum wage meaning here is different again. Okay, based on the nature of the job and certain industry and certain geographical area, the certain rates are fixed by the appropriate governments. Okay, and the employer is it is mandatory for the employer to make the wages to minimum to that extent. Below that, the employer should not pay. Okay, but let us see, still there are some provisions which can come under the purview. Okay, see, I read out working hours, you can recall. Okay. 8-hour working hours suddenly increased to 12 hours. It cannot happen. It is a violation of the provision of working hours under Minimum Wages Act 1948. Government may also fix number of hours of work, provide for a weekly day of rest, and payment of remuneration in respect of such day of rest. So we don't have information about these two, but yes, definitely number of hours of work. So it is already mentioned in the news. What is the minimum number of hours of work? 8 hours. But for how many hours the employees were made to work? 12 hours. So there is a violation of working hours under the Minimum Wages Act 1948. And second, does it come under the purview? Yes, definitely it is clearly mentioned in the news. Overtime, where an employee works on any day in excess of stipulated hours per day of work, okay, employer shall pay him at the overtime rate fixed under this act. You can recall? So what are the stipulated hours per day of work? 8 hours per day. Okay, the employees are made to work at 12 hours a day. Employees thought that they will get overtime payment, where the HR has not calculated overtime payment. So this is the second example which we have learnt, live example, you can recall. Okay, but in first case I don't know whether the information was half or the company is really doing it. 12 hours of work, but the employees are paid at 8 hours. So confidently we cannot say. This is actually at least printed in the newspaper. So in this case the company has violated the provision of overtime payment with respect to Minimum Wages Act 1948. Okay. Then employer's obligation, once the minimum rates of wages are fixed or revised according to the procedure prescribed, legal obligation to pay the rates. Okay, definitely then see, employer obligation, this provision is also violated by the employer here, because once the minimum rates of wages are fixed or revised according to the procedure prescribed under the act, it becomes legal obligation for employers to pay the rates. See, when definitely you can recall that the rates are fixed for normal hours of work, that is 8 hours per day, as well as the minimum rate of wages are fixed for overtime also. The overtime rates are higher than normal hours of work. So in this case also definitely there should be some minimum rate of wages for overtime, but that is not paid. Okay, so that overtime amount is not paid. So the employer has violated this provision of employer's obligation with respect to Minimum of Wages Act 1948. Again, specifically with respect to overtime payment. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, what's up there? Hardly few students are there. Things are rolling left to right, right to left. What about the online students? Sleeping time. Already slept. See, online students, what the classroom students are saying, you have already slept. Are you awake or sleeping?
No, sir, we are not sleeping.
Awake. Nobody has slept. Huh? All have replied. I am asking. Yeah. So, anything you would like to add? Anybody who has read the latest news? Anything you would like to update? Anybody who want to update this news? Now, news will appear almost on a daily basis related to this. But I have brought only a part of the news so that we can begin the discussion. Yes, anybody want to update the news? As of now, what is the status? Online students? No? Okay, then how would like to conclude? One student from online and one student in the classroom will conclude this case study. How would you conclude? Now, you can take 1 minute time to decide your representative. Yeah, among online students, who will conclude? Yes. Maruf, Srinidhi, Nishad, Nidhi, Shilpa.
Sir,
Geetanjali would like to conclude on behalf of online students. Yes, Geetanjali, you can speak.
sir, employee has to get extra payment for their extra work, what they have spent.
Employee should be paid overtime as per the provisions of both the acts. Yes, definitely. Then conclude, summarize and conclude. Yeah, continue, Geetanjali. Yes, Samuel, how would you summarize or conclude? Yeah, Srinidhi, would you like to summarize and conclude?
Sir, along with the extra payment, I'm given both the employer.
Along with the OT payment? No, second half of the sentence was not audible. You can speak, voice is clear. Okay, the students in the classroom, who will conclude?
Sir, you are break.
Srinidhi, speak. Okay, so online students, you wait here till Ashutosh concludes, okay, for the class. Yes. Okay, very good. So he says the first point in conclusion is the HR employee should be made aware about the laws and regulations related to payment of wages or compensation. Continue. Only that. Okay, so accordingly the overtime payment should be made, the payment should be made on time as per the provisions of the Act. Okay, see here also, if you can recall, online students, can you see this PowerPoint slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the implications for managers, how I concluded chapter number 17. Okay, So if you can recall, chapter number 17 dealt with government and legal issues in compensation. Okay. So employers or managers are required to know, means have knowledge, understand and comply with such laws. Knowing is not alone sufficient. The employer should also comply with the provisions of the laws related to payment of wages. Okay, in this case, compliance is, okay, has the company has not complied because as per the Business Today news article, the HR employees were not aware properly about or not aware adequately about the laws related to payment of wages in India. Okay. So that is what, okay, we can conclude. Then employers or managers are required to know, understand and comply with such laws prevailing in a country while deciding or revising compensation policy, and also they are required to pay as per the policy. See, I made a joke, if you can recall, okay, how difficult it is for an employer, okay, who is also a human being, to know that employees should be paid according to a system. Okay. So even with that complexity, to resolve the issues, okay, or to prevent the employees from getting exploited, such laws are made, and over and above what we see, again these laws are also violated. Okay, and the reason quoted is really strange, that employees were not adequately aware about the provisions of the acts. Okay, so this is what disaster can happen. Okay, okay, when there is no knowledge or little knowledge. Okay, then other than that, okay, you should also understand that maybe why the company might have been reducing the payment from 21 to 16, 16 to 12,000 per month. Why? Okay, maybe the demand for its products has reduced, or the production might have reduced proportionately. Why the demand has reduced? Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the demand for the products might have declined. Accordingly, the production also might have declined. Okay, maybe in addition to the decline in demand and decline in production, the input cost might have increased. Okay, so companies might have been found it difficult to manage the present situation. Okay, so which is, maybe it is, we don't know, there is no information about this what we are discussing, but definitely we can think about this possibility, that due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the demand for the products might have affected, so that might have affected the production schedule. Okay, so one way to save cost is make the employees to work for more number of hours for the same salary. Okay, but it is unethical and illegal. If the employee is working beyond normal working hours, he or she should be paid overtime as per the provisions of the concerned act. Okay, so then what if the costs are really very high or the demand is too low where the company is unable to pay? What happens in that case? Yes, the company lays off, they remove some number of employees. This we have learnt in payscale.com's research paper, white paper. What are the strategies adopted? Okay, during such conditions when the economy is down, remove employees, not all, some employees, remove some employees, or you don't remove employees but you reduce salary of the existing employees. But reducing salary of existing employees is more demoralizing, demotivating. So companies generally resort to remove some employees, and generally the contract employees are removed first. Or some companies may resort to both, remove employees as well as reduce salary. Okay, so here what we found is in two cases, including this, where employees are not removed but they are made to work for more number of hours for the same salary without any increase in pay. Okay, or just maintain your status quo. Okay, means don't neither remove employees nor reduce salary. That is only possible when your demand is unaffected. Okay, that happened with IT company. Okay, so I hope okay, this would suffice, okay, for the case study. So let me conclude here, and this is also the last class of compensation and benefits management. This is 39th class. Okay, as per the syllabus, number of hours required were 39. So this is exactly 39th class, and without any hurry. Okay, we also completed all the syllabus. I have given you the guide to units, names for the parts in the textbook, as well as chapter numbers and chapter names related to each unit. Okay, and all the PowerPoint slides are shared in the Google Classroom. All the recorded videos of live classes are shared in the Google Classroom again. Syllabus is shared. Okay, assignments are already submitted. IA1 and 2 are submitted. Okay, so if you have any query, you have to call me directly. Check the timetable. Only thing, I should not have time class, and you can call me. Okay, online students.
Yes,
Okay, sir.
Okay, you have
Yes,
to,
sir.
do you want to say something? This is the last class. I forgot to inform you that this will be the last class.
Yes,
So
sir.
tomorrow
Thank
is
you
when?
for conducting.
Yeah, tell me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for conducting classes, sir.
Yeah, welcome. You are welcome. Who
And
is
also,
there? Who is it?
Srinidhi, sir.
Srinidhi. Okay, thanks. Thanks me. Okay,
Sir.
thank you, Srinidhi. You are welcome.
And also, thank you for your recorded video, sir. You uploaded every classes, sir.
Yes, thank you so much. So she says I have uploaded each and every video as well as PowerPoint slide. Thank you, Srinidhi. You are welcome.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So, students in the classroom, shall we conclude now? Okay. So both the virtual and real classrooms. So I'm going to conclude the session. Okay. So if you want to give any feedback or if you want to say something, you have any doubts still, you can call me always. Okay. So I'm going to end meeting now. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome.
Bye, sir.
Yeah. Bye bye.